Hey y'all, we're gonna do something today that kind of scares me. Hey y'all, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. All right, well, you ever have those projects, and I know you have, where you know you gotta do it, you know there's no way around doing it, but somehow you procrastinate? Well, guess what? I'm not immune to that either. Because over here, y'all, is the worst bush, thorns, thickets, everything else that I've ever seen in my life. I didn't see stuff this bad in the jungles of Honduras, Panama, all through South America. I never seen anything this bad. It's all thorny, it's thickety, and it's right off the edge of the house. There's this giant, I know you can only get a two-dimensional view here, but take my word for it. There's basically a cliff right there. In fact, the one time I've come down it in a previous video, I had to rappel down it. That's how steep it is. I mean, there's no walking down that hill. But I know all of this stuff. I'll come around here so you get a better understanding of it. All of this stuff has to come out. And really, this is one of the zones that's closest to the house. So there's no getting around this. But folks, let me jump back just a little bit. More than once, all the time, every day, I mean, more times than I can even count, I've sat there with my eyes closed, even on the front porch when I'm meditating, and I've imagined what I want this place to be. And you're gonna have to do the same too. Not just imagine how it looks, but what does it smell like? Do you get a certain taste in your mouth when certain things are in bloom? What does it feel to your senses? Bring everything into it. I mean, bring all your senses into it and visualize what you wanna see. That's where you start. That's where every great, before you ever put it on paper, you gotta have it up here. Before you ever put it on paper, before you ever take it out to the field. That's exactly what I'm doing here. So what I imagined in this valley that basically goes all the way down to the edge of the property, and believe me, this thing goes all the way up to the top of the mountain. This valley, what I envision is a series of ponds. One in which, I mean, in my mind's eye, I envision a very beautiful pond at the very top, and then series of ponds with swales as spillways going out as we approach the bottom of the hill. That's what I have in my mind. I have fruit trees over here. I see blueberry bushes. I see all the wonderful things that I know are going to grow in here. But in order to make that a reality, this has got to go away, because frankly, I don't even know the full extent of the topography here until it's removed. So here's where we get to, this is where we get into that part where I lay myself bare. Is honestly, the biggest reason I haven't done it is fear. And it's stupid fear, probably seeded by the enemy. Because I got pigs, but what I'm afraid of is that they're not going to do a good enough job. How stupid is that? But it's a legit fear. And honestly, I'm not on this channel to give you pie in the sky things. I have my self-doubt too. I have my worries. I have all these concerns about things. Am I going to get it right? Am I going to get it wrong? If I get it wrong, what are the consequences? And then when I come back to that last part about the consequences, they're all stupid. So the worst thing happens is I have egg on my face. Not really, but I have egg on my face, and it's this idiotic fear of failure that I've suffered ever since I was a child with, and I'm sure many of you do too, that is now coming back into my life and has led me to the point where, honestly, I'm afraid to get in here and find out what I find. I mean, for crying out loud, we found Christmas trees over here with the ornaments and the tinsel still on it. I mean, what am I going to find up in here? But it's stupid concern. Okay, we got the pigs back up the hill. Maybe you can see them over here. And this is where I'm going to overcome this idiotic fear. These pigs are up this hill. Now, the intention was to run them to the top of the mountain. Well, we're calling an audible. Since they're over here, it only makes good sense to put them in here. Now, there are some concerns. I've already lost one pig that broke a femur mysteriously falling off the side of a friggin' mountain. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen here. That is a concern. But I need this stuff, I need it gone. And my best ally is going to be goats and pigs. And we've been down that goat route. I don't want anything to do with it. Some of this thicket in here, y'all, is 10 feet tall. You know what? We're going to throw caution to the wind, and we're going to go ahead and get it done. But look, the big moral to the story is you've seen us move pigs. You've seen us move all kinds of animals. Those idiotic fears, those projects that you're afraid to do, go out there and tackle them. What is the worst that can possibly happen? All right, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna, if you go back and watch that previous video of how we move pigs, we're gonna employ it today. Right now, we're gonna get their net over to this side where it's a little bit more clear. Over there is where the problem is. We'll basically make something of a peninsula with their fence, get them down here. And then in a series of other moves, we'll eventually get this whole thing covered, and then we're gonna see what they're gonna do. But also, remember, think about your topography. If you do something like this, I know that in a very, very bad rainstorm, this thing's gonna get washed out. So leave your pigs a point of egress, which is gonna be right over here. We'll get to that. We're gonna get hot on it right now, y'all.
All right, we're feeding the pigs over on this side. Billy's working over there to pick up the fence so we can get it run down there.
All right, I'm taking off this fence here. We're gonna pluck it up. And remember, when you tie your knots for pigs, put your string on the outside because they are wily enough to take it apart and then reclip if you're joining nets. So this will come out. We'll take that up in a minute. Now we're gonna cheat the excess that way. All right, this is where we pulled the net up, y'all. And what I want you to see is essentially the demarcation point of what they've done. This was all that nasty Chinese silvergrass. They eat it, they chew it up, they just chew on it. And everything you see down here is where it was deposited. Here, y'all, I gotta make sure I'm careful because we are literally on the side of a mountain. And you can see this big hump right here. That's also Chinese silvergrass that they basically wiped out. The invasive thing that everybody says can't be dealt with around here, well, they did it. And just like I told you in the last video, now that I got my unfriendly weed regime out of the way, after I got them out, now I need to supplant them. This needs to be a regime change up here, you dig? So all this mud, Michelle, come on up a little bit. I let them work this area over longer than I ordinarily would because this is exactly what I want. Look, I mean, my goodness, I mean, they've done a fantastic job and they did the pigness of the pig while doing it. How about that? Okay, now that we pulled up that extra fence, we're gonna go down to the bottom over there and make that little peninsula I was talking about. Okay, essentially these guys are on 4 fences. Now look up the hill. There they are right now doing their thing. And that's why we basically get them on the opposite side of where we want to do any work. Because honestly, and after you feed them, you wanna wait about a good minute because you'll have some, because of their curious nature, they're gonna wanna come back and next thing you know, they're out. So give them about a minute before you do that. So all we're gonna do at this point, this is where the old net is. It's basically going around that way. All we're gonna do is just stick this in right like so. I'm gonna take the old one off. Actually, right now, I'm gonna parallel this thing. I'm gonna put the new net on it. And while they're in there secure, because like I said, these guys are wily, let me go ahead and secure this. We're gonna go ahead and run out that 3rd fence. They're gonna be loving it. There is nothing, y'all. If you watch my earlier videos, I've talked about it extensively. Of all the things we do out here, there is nothing that gives me more joy than seeing animals, no matter the animal, on new ground. We'll show you. Show them all of this. All right, as you can see, this one here is ready to move on to the next area. Ain't that right, pig? Well, look, I could go ahead and break it loose there and tie it in, but look, I'm not gonna take the chance because all they need is the slightest opportunity, and then you're gonna have to be trying to get pigs back in. So, just to keep everything cool, because this one is excited. I got a little bit of store-bought feed in here. I don't use it much, but I'm gonna get their attention up here. Now I can move. All right, y'all, here's the consummate definition of symbiosis. Or I like to think of it as a commensal kind of symbiosis. Ain't that right, Pig? Look at how, this is why I get so much excitement when we put animals in new spots, because this is the way they were meant to live. Look at this, they're down here grubbing. They're doing all the things they have to do. Okay, everybody knows my concerns and my stupid fear about having the pigs run through this area. We're gonna put that aside and we're just gonna drive on, because look at how happy, this is the way they were meant to be. This is the environment they love. So here's what's gonna happen now. We're gonna stop filming here in a moment. We're gonna go ahead and make sure this thing is secure. We're gonna get it hot. They're gonna love this area. And then later on, when we feed them tonight, we're gonna feed them right over there. I want their attention right there while we take the rest of the net and get it around. How cool is that? All right, y'all, so there's a lot we can't show you right now. We couldn't show you because it required all hands on deck. Now, just so you kind of know, look, y'all, they were here for about 15 to 20 minutes. Look at what they did, for crying out loud. Hey, I'm not to be eating, pig. Anyway, here we are over in that really, really, really nasty thicket. William's gonna get an aerial shot. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. Here we are, y'all. This is a doggone mountain of nasty, wild, multi-floor rose. They've uprooted it already over here. Now the only thing left to do, and it's really not bare, we don't really have to film that, is that we're gonna find a place to put their water bucket where it's easy to access. And of course, them being pigs, they're gonna require shade. So we have a little bit in terms of obstacles, but guess what? We can put T-posts in the ground, stick it above, and then they got a cool, shaded, easy-going spot. That's what pigs are loving. But look, they absolutely, this is what they were meant to do, for crying out loud. We put them in a little holding paddock till we could build the bigger one, turn them out into here, and that's where we are right now. So folks, I guess the moral to all this is that, to a certain extent, I guess it was overcoming fear of the unknown, idiotic fear, just foolish fear. And just remember, at the end of the day, we're not given a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And we got to remember that when we do these things. And always ask yourself, what is the worst that could possibly happen? The worst that could happen is it doesn't go the way I planned. So then we make corrections on the next one. So now that they're here and we've essentially called an audible, we're going to see what they do in here. I'm going to take their food and I'm going to throw it up in that thicket. It doesn't bother them. These thorns, they couldn't care less. They only got to watch out for the other pigs. Ain't that right, piggies? Hey. Anyway, remember, y'all, if you need anything, bone sauce, world's best deer repellent. You need comfrey. We got that too, and we're going to be doing, as weather gets a little bit better, we're going to be doing more and more about the awesome benefits of comfrey. We got all that at the website. Need an EMP shield, need anything else, check out the description box down below, and check us out on Patreon. We got a lot of good stuff going on over there. So even though there are projects in this world where you can expect this, just remember, give it a shot anyway. What is the worst that can happen? All right, y'all, till next time, this is Billy from Permapastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion. And right here is the reasons why, y'all. We'll see you next time.